EV Comply, simplifying your charge point installations.
And just like that, it's another week. So let's see what's been happening in the EV industry this week on Friday the 11th of November. Firstly, I'm opening the floor up to you guys. I want to know how to make electric vehicle battery swapping work in the UK. Now, battery swapping is touted as the fix-all solution to charging anxieties, but could it ever really come here to the UK? Battery swapping infrastructure will allow EV owners to swap out discharged batteries for charged ones at various swapping stations. This solves the problem of installing charging stations whilst also reducing drivers' concerns about the range of their EVs. But will it really work? In a poll we did this week, 85% of Brits came back saying they thought it was a complicated way to solve range anxiety. So what do you think? Now, a second big talking topic is, of course, energy prices. For those people who smugly were early adopters of EVs, ICE engine owners are saying the smirk has been wiped off their faces, and I'm here to tell you actually otherwise. Electric vehicle owners in the UK are saving £600 a year compared to petrol and diesel vehicles. So still, it's a win. Now, here in the UK, we are really quite behind compared to Southeast Asian nations. The vast majority of the vehicles on the roads are still from the likes of Toyota, Daihatsu, Suzuki, but you're now also starting to see a growing number of shiny, colourful, new Wuling Air EV models zipping around through Bali traffic. Now, looking further up the vehicle value chain, Indonesia is home to about a quarter of the world's known reserves of nickel, a key component to many lithium-ion batteries. Several local and global mining companies have announced plans to expand their nickel mining operations in the country. PT Antim, a state-owning mining company, is forming several partnerships with companies from China and Korea through the Indonesian Battery Corporation to expand the country's nickel mining capacity. Private companies such as P2 Hire, Nickel Cobalt and PT Value Indonesia have also announced plans to expand nickel mining in the country, which could very easily put them ahead of the game. Also this week, Porsche has announced it will discontinue the gasoline-fueled models and replace the 718 Dynamic Duo with purely electric sports cars. We got a first taste of the EVs in September 2021 with the Mission R concept, but it wasn't until a couple of days ago that a prototype was spotted testing. Now, Porsche cleverly have obviously camouflaged the prototype, so there are a lot of design details that remain a secret for now, but what we do know is that it's coming and we're definitely excited about it. The Renault Group has also been busy this week with announcements. They have hived off its electric vehicle and software activities into a dedicated new business called Ampere as part of the third stage of its Renault transformation. Now, the announcement comes as part of a wide-reaching update to boss Luca Di Meo's renovation plans, which sees the company shift focus to becoming what it calls a next-gen automotive company. Hiving off Ampere as its own entity, the Renault Group says it is creating the first EV and software pure player born from an OEM distribution. The company plans to float Ampere on the Paris Stock Exchange from the second half of 2023, keeping a strong majority of shares itself. Tariffs will be introduced on public electric vehicle charging points across North Lanarkshire from the 1st of January 2023. Now, the council currently operates 122 charging points as part of the Scottish Government's Charge Place Scotland network. Their installation was funded by Transport Scotland, and to date there has been no charge to drivers for the energy used to encourage the uptake, of course, of electric vehicles. The council of the energy being used cannot be sustained. By recovering the energy and running costs from drivers, we will be able to attack further investment to install more EV charge points to meet the increasing demand. The number of drivers using the EV charging points in North Lanarkshire has increased from 250 $4,253 in July 2021 to $4,099 in September of this year. The level of tariff will be set by the council ahead of their introduction on the 1st of January 2023, and measures will be introduced to prevent vehicles remaining longer than necessary in the charging bays to make them available to as many drivers as possible. This is an interesting one. An EV charger design for a UK-wide rollout actually may never be made. So the winner of the government tender was unveiled at the COP26 as one that would stand the test of time. I did mention it in the podcast actually. It was meant to join the red phone box, the London bus and the black cab as a symbol of modern Britain. Yet a so-called iconic design for a UK electric car charger commissioned by Grant Shapps, then the Transport Minister, is actually likely to remain on the drawing board after the government admitted it may never be made. However, the Department for Transport has now admitted that the charger may not be installed on Britain's road. It did concede last month that the concept is not intended for manufacture or deployment, in response to a Freedom of Information request by Tom Riley, who writes for Fast Charge Automotive newsletter. The government added that the project helped raise awareness and generate excitement of the UK's electric vehicle programme. The tender had a budget of £200,000, but the winners provided the design at zero cost, a government spokesperson has said. Speaking of the government and MPs, Britishvolt, Ford Motor Co, Tesla and several electric vehicle charging companies are among a group of organisations that have written to the UK government, calling for a mandate on a minimum level of EVs on the road by 2024. Timed to coincide with the COP27 climate summit in Egypt this week, the letter was sent to MPs Mark Harper and Grant Shapps, respectively the Secretaries of State for Transport and for Business. An ambitious zero-emissions vehicle mandate would guarantee a minimum proportion of electric vehicles on the road from 2024 and provide a clear signal and trajectory to infrastructure investors to accelerate the charge point rollouts, the letter said. Also in news this week, British electric vehicle startup Arrival has sadly faced delays to its first working van after one caught fire during a demonstration for delivery firm UPS, its largest customer. No one was hurt in the incident, but after the van was wheeled out of the factory, the flames had melted part of the surface of the car park, the Financial Times have reported. It is expected to delay delivery of the van by several years. Now, as we know in this industry, if one wins, we all win. And this is really a sad story for Arrival. And we do hope that, the van gets back on track very quickly. And these things happen. It's a new industry, it's new technology, and you have to try and fail. It's better than to never try at all, isn't it? Here at EV Comply, we have proudly featured this month in the Professional Electrician and Installer magazine. So if you happen to pick one up, flick yourself to page 90 and hear everything we have to tell you about how our app could possibly help you and your business. You can also find out more by going to ev-comply.com. From everybody here, as always, you have a fantastic weekend, and I'll be back with you next Friday. Put it as a date in your diary.